Picking up where we left off at, it says, however, many people find it easier to reduce before multiplying. Reduce either numerator with either denominator. So we will look here. First of all, we know 8 and 9 does not have anything in common except 1. But you notice 8 and 4 does. Both of them can be divided evenly by 4. So we will ask ourselves, how many times does 4 go into 8? It goes into 8 twice. How many times does 8 go into 4? It goes into 4 once. So we divided both of these numbers by the common number, which is 4. Now let's look here at 9 and 2. Doesn't have anything in common, but 9 and 3 does. Both of them have 3 in common. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 3 goes into 3 one time. So now we will have 2/3 times 1 over 1. 2 times 1 is 2. 3 times 1 is 3. So our final answer here is 2/3, which is basically what we received up here for our answer. Now, we go down here to the examples. It says multiply the fractions of mixed numbers. Note that mixed numbers must be changed to improper fractions before multiplying. Give all answers in lowest terms and in mixed number form where appropriate. Okay, now we're going to try this both ways. I'm going to do the first few problems using both methods. So the first method, we'll multiply straight across. 3 times 4 is 12. And then we would take 14 times 15. Now, because we cannot use a calculator, we'll go off to the side and multiply 14 times 15. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2 is 7. We'll bring down our 0. 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 times 1 is 1. And this will give us 210. Now we look at both of these numbers here. Both of them are even. So we know we could divide both by 2. And this will give us 6 over 105. Now 6 and 105 both have 3 in common. So we divide both by 3. And this will give us 2 over 35. And this is the final answer. Now, let's try this problem again using a cross simplifying. So, we know 3 and 14 has nothing in common, but 3 and 15 does. Both of them can be divided by 3. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 15 5 times. Now we could look at here 4 and 14. Both of them has 2 in common. 2 goes into 4 twice. 2 goes into 14 7 times. So this would end up being 1/7 times 2/5. 1 times 2 is 2. 7 times 5 is 35. So it'll be 2 over 35. Now, we have our next problem here. We have 9/10 times 5 over 12. So 9 times 5 is 45. And 10 times 12 is 120. Now, if you look here, 45 and 120 both has 3 in common. 45 divided by 3 is 15. 120 divided by 3 is 40. Now, both of these have 5 in common. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 40 divided by 5 is 8. So our final answer here is 3/8. Now let's try the cross simplifying. Now 9 and 12, they both have 3 in common. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 3 goes into 12 4 times. Now with 5 and 10, they both have 5 in common. 5 goes into 5 once. 5 goes into 10 twice. So this will be 3/2 times 1/4, which is 3/8, which is the same answer we received here. Now, from here on out, we're going to use the method that I believe is the best method for each individual problem. So let's go here. We have a whole number 4 times 5, 6. The first thing we should do is make this 4 a fraction by making it 4 over 1. So we have 4 over 1 times 5 over 6. Since these numbers are small, we can multiply straight across. 4 times 5 is 20. 1 times 6 is 6. Now we can simplify these two. Both of these can be divided by 2. And this will give us 10/3. Now typically we don't leave our final answer as an improper fraction. We want to rewrite this as a mixed number if we can. So we'll take 3 and a 10. 3 goes into 10 3 times. So 10 minus 9 is 1. So we have a remainder of 1. And our final answer is this whole number, which is 3. Our denominator stays 3. And our numerator is our remainder, which is 1. So it's 3 1/3. Now we come here, we add 3 1/3 times 1 3/4. So 3 1/3 actually becomes 10/3. Now the reason why this becomes 10/3, which I could write down here, we would take, our denominator would stay the same as 3, but to find our numerator, we'd take 3 times 3 plus 1, which we know is 9 plus 1, which is 10. So that gives us our 10/3. Now, we will put this in parentheses. Now we have to find our other number. We know that our denominator is going to be 4. So now we want to find our numerator. So what we would do is we would take 1 times 4 plus 3, the whole number times the denominator plus the numerator. So 1 times 4 is 4, plus 3 would give us 7. So our numerator here would be 7. Now what I would suggest is this. Let's do the cross simplification here. 10 and 4, they both have 2 in common. So this would give us 5. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now when you take any of these other numbers, 3 and 7 does not go in together, and 3 and 5 does not, and 7 and 2 does not. So now we have 5/3 times 7/2. So now we multiply this. 5 times 7 is 35. 3 times 2 is 6. Now again, I say typically we do not leave an improper fraction as our final answer. Even though this is simplified. This is simplified, but we typically don't leave this as our final answer. So now we would take 6 into 35. 6 goes into 35 5 times. 5 times 6 is 30. 35 minus 30 is 5. So we have a remainder of 5. So our final answer will be 5. Our denominator will remain 6. And our remainder, which would be our numerator, is 5. So our final answer here is 5 and 5, 6. Now, we go down here to section D. It says multiple items. It says application of fraction multiplication. Multiple items. Sue bought 3 packages of hamburger. Each package contained 2 3/4 pounds of meat. How many pounds of meat did Sue buy? So she bought 3 packages of hamburger, and each package contained 2 3/4 pounds of meat. So it'd be 3 times 2 3/4. Now, what we need to do is this here. We need to change this mixed number to an improper fraction and make this 3/1. So it'll be a fraction. We know our denominator will remain 4. And we know 2 times 4 is 8, plus 3 is 11. Now, we cannot do any cross simplification here, so we'll multiply straight across. 3 times 11 is 33. 1 times 4 is 4. And then we would take 4 into 33, which goes 8 times. And we have a remainder of 1. So we have 8. Our denominator would be 4. And our numerator would be 1. And then it's also pounds. So it'd be 8 1/4 pounds. That's the total amount that she bought. Okay, number 2. Here we have problem number 2. It says fraction of a quantity. There are 36 cookies in a package. Jim ate 4/9 of the cookies. Okay, now the word of typically means multiplication. So It says here with A, what fraction of the cookies are left? How many cookies are left? Okay, first of all, we have to figure out how many cookies did Jim eat. Okay, so we have a total of, I'm going to work it out down here at the bottom. We have a total of 36 cookies. And Jim ate 4/9 of those cookies. So we have 36 times 4/9. And we'll put the 36 over 1. Now we could cross simplify. 9 and 36 both has 9 in common. 9 goes into 9 once. 9 goes into 36 4 times. So we would end up with 4 over 1 times 4 over 1, which would be 16 over 1, which is just 16. Now, this 16 here represents the amount of cookies that Jim ate. So Jim ate 16 cookies. Now, what we need to do is we need to take 36 minus 16 to give us how many cookies are left. We have 20 cookies left. So it says what fraction of the cookies are left. So we will put 20 out of the 36 cookies. Now this can be simplified. 20 and 36 both has 4 in common. 20 divided by 4 is 5. 36 divided by 4 is 9. So it's 5/9 is the fraction. Now for B, it says how many cookies are left. We have 20 cookies. So it's 20 cookies. And that's it. Now we have problem 3. It says a fraction of a quantity. An employee spends 3/4 of her time in production. 1/3 of her remaining time is spent doing paperwork. What fraction of her total time is spent on paperwork? The first thing, let's draw a figure here. Let's draw a 3/4. Now, of course, I don't have a straight edge, so it's not going to be a perfect drawing. So if we add 3/4, I will just scribble this out. These 3 are shaded in. So if we look here, this blank spot is the remaining of her total time. So if you look here, her total time left is 1/4. Because 3/4 of her time is in production. So 1/4 is the remaining time. So we're told here that 1/3 of that time, which is multiplication, so we have 1/4, which is the remaining time, times 1/3, because 1/3 of that remaining time is doing paperwork. So it says what fraction of her total time is spent on paperwork. So we would do 1/4 times 1/3. 1 times 1 is 1, and 4 times 3 is 12. So it'd be 1/12 of her time is spent on paperwork. Now, we scroll down here to problem number 4. It says area of a rectangle. The area of a rectangle is found multiplying the length and width. A equals length times width. Find the area of the rectangle shown below. So we would do area is equal to length times width. Now here our length is 5 1/3 feet. And our width is 1 1/8 feet. So we would change these mixed numbers to improper fractions. We know our denominator would stay 3. And our numerator would be 5 times 3 is 15 plus 1 is 16. Here our denominator will remain 8. And our numerator would be 1 times 8 is 8 plus 1 is 9. Now I would suggest that we do cross simplifying so we don't end up with a very large number. So we would take 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 9 3 times, 8 goes into 8 once, 8 goes into 16 twice. So we have our area is equal to 2 over 1 feet times 3 over 1 feet. Now we multiply. 2 times 3 is 6, 1 times 1 is 1, and feet will give us square feet. Now we do not leave our final answer divided by 1. So our area would be 6 square feet. And this would be our final answer.